I welcome you to this lesson. We are going to be looking at types of numbers. Previously, I gave some work on natural numbers, and those numbers, we say these are also called counting numbers. And most of you that have done the assignment have tried to pass through that work, and then I really have appreciated you have done something. Please continue watching our lessons and learning with us. We are going to continue still with that same lesson, and in this case we are going to look at types of numbers. Types of numbers, basically. There are several types of numbers, as you are going to see what you see on the screen. The screenshot of these types of numbers in the work I told you to read about. We have different types of numbers, like we looked at what we call the natural numbers, and we say these are also called counting numbers. We also looked at whole numbers, and these are also counting numbers together with what? With a zero. We also have what we call square numbers. As you see there, the definition, these are numbers got after multiplying natural numbers by itself, or these are numbers which we get by squaring, counting what? Numbers. Then we also have what we call cube numbers. Cube numbers, these are numbers which you get by cubing or by multiplying the natural numbers by itself 3 times. The examples, you see them there. If you look at when I cube 1 or I multiply 1 3 times, I'll get 1. When I multiply 2 3 times, I'll get 8. When I multiply 3 times, I'll get 27. So those are numbers you get by cubing, or those counting numbers. If you cube them, you get what called cube numbers. What are even numbers? These are numbers that have that are exactly divisible by what? By 2. So I gave you this work. Please, I think I'm just perusing through now, confirming. You should confirm your answers that you have read about these types of numbers, and you could try to see. So the exact divisors, or these numbers that when you divide them by 2, you don't get a remainder, or the exact divisors of 2. Then what do we mean by exact divisor? You just get that number. The moment you divide it by 2 and don't get a remainder, that is called an even number. The set of even numbers there, you see it, 2, 4, 6, and is infinite. Does not end. There are very many, like how other sets you see them there. Now we have what we call prime numbers. Jumping factors before I come back to factors. They are what we call prime numbers. As per the definition, you see that these are numbers with only 2 factors, 1 and itself. So those numbers that have 2 factors, 1 and itself, are called prime numbers. For example, in the set you see there, the prime numbers we have there are 2, 3, 5, and 7. The set is continuous, but when you look at that set, 2 has only 2 factors. It is divisible by 2. That is 2 and 1. 3 has only 1 factor. That is 1 and itself. 7 has only 1 factor. That is 1 and itself. So whenever you look at prime numbers, those prime numbers, you look at those numbers that can go in that pattern. Prime numbers have a pattern. I want you to go and search about the partner of prime number. Partner, what do I mean here? I mean, how do you generate these prime numbers? That's what I mean by a partner. So I want you to go and search down there to generate a partner of prime numbers. If you get it, then you'll read more about prime numbers. Let us go back to 6 factors. What are factors? Factors of numbers, as you see the definition there on the screen, or on our notes screenshot we are using. Factors of numbers are those numbers that divide exactly in 2, or those are numbers. Factors of numbers are all numbers that divide exactly in 2. It's Iggy. What do I mean here? For example, say 6. What are the factors of 6? Those are numbers, when you get 6, you divide them by those numbers. They don't give you a remainder. For example, in that bracket, 1, 2, 3, and 6 are factors of 6. So those numbers are said to be factors of 6. So you can have 12 factors of 12, you can list them. You can have 13 factors of 13, you can list them. So in that case we get what we call factors. Then the prime factors, those are numbers or those are factors that are prime in nature. We have seen a definition of prime. So that are prime in nature. Then we shall look at prime factorization, that is expressing the numbers in terms of their prime factors. Then we have what we call composite numbers. Composite numbers, those are numbers with more than 2 factors. So long as a number has more than 2 factors, is called a composite number. For example, 4. When you look at 4, 4 has factors. Look at the board. 4 has factors. 1, 2, then 4 itself. So this number has more than 2 factors. So it is said, it is called a prime number. When you come to 8, what are the prime factors of 8? You can try to list them. 1, 2. These are just numbers, factors of 8. That when you get 8, you divide by these numbers, you don't get a remainder. So that is 1, 2, 4, Then what next? We have 8. So these are the numbers we are talking about. So we shall go back and look at the screen. Back on our screen, we have what we call multiples of numbers. We shall look at multiple. By definition, that is the number multiplied by another integer. So Iggy, when 2 numbers are multiplied together, the product is called a multiple of that number. So multiples, what do we mean? We get that number and we multiply. We are going to see this later on. For example, if I want to get multiples of 5, I start multiplying 5 by the counting numbers. So you say 5, you look at the chalkboard and see, yes, multiples of 5, we multiply 5 by these integers. All the multiples, so all the counting numbers. So we say 5 times 1, that is 5. 5 times 2, that is 10. 5 times 3, that is 15. So you find that this one which you are getting, they are the multiples of 5. So you see there we have 5, 10, and then what? 15, then we have 25 if you continue. So those are the multiples we are talking about. If you want to list multiples of 2, so 2 times 1, that is 2. 2 times 2, that is 4. 2 times 3, that is 6. So you go on like that. Those are multiples. So in that case, we have described this, and then we shall look at LCM. We shall look at, in that case, highest common factor. So in this lesson, I want to conclude it with that table you see on the screen. Now that table has some numbers. I want you to do that activity whereby you are going to identify the even numbers, the odd numbers, the prime numbers, and the composite numbers in that table. So the table is there, so you see it there. I want you to identify out of that table. It starts from number 1 up to 100. But doesn't mean numbers are ending there. No. But I want you to use that table to identify the prime numbers. You get it? I want to look at that table critically. Identify the prime numbers, identify the odd numbers, identify the even numbers, and identify the composite number. So that activity, I want you to do it. You can sit down, watch the video, read about the factors, the types of those numbers, and try to identify, giving a reason for your answer. Why do you consider them? But may not say that you are going to give me that reason. So after that, you'll be able to understand or to appreciate what are prime numbers, what are even numbers, and what are composite numbers. I want to end there in this lesson. We are going to pick up from that the next lesson when we are looking at more about prime factorization of numbers and multiples. Thank you very much. I remain Teacher Musana Yusuf, teacher of mathematics.